Today is the 20th of August, 2020, 8/20/2020, and the summer is closing quickly, and we will start into the fall. And then we're into the final time before New Year's. Let's hope that 2020 will end up with good news for everybody, that there'll be a vaccination, some kind of vaccine that they'll have created by that time that will kill this virus wherever it started, and we can get back to some kind of normalcy. But frankly, that's the last thing you want to get back to. You don't want to be back to normal. You want to be back to creating your ideal lifestyle. What is normal anyway? It's where you're living now. It's the car you're driving now. It's the kind of income you're earning now from the sources you are earning it from now. It's the relationships in your life now. That's normal life. And it took a hit over the last 6 months. It got hit pretty bad. But it really kind of upset our normal life. But it didn't upset our ideal life. Because there are people who are living their ideal lifestyle right now in the middle of all of these challenges. And so you have to make the decision that normal is not what you want to be. It's what you want to put behind you, actually. The last thing you want is to be normal. Now, for those of us who are entrepreneurs, we are not normal. We're crazy. Most of us think we're crazy. 1 in 7 of us. 1 in 7 of the people you see walking around the streets, walking in the malls, driving on their cars. A lot of cars driving in the streets. You don't see a lot of congregations of people in movie theaters and the plays and in churches and things like that. They don't let us get together, but you can see the people on the streets, and they are just living their normal, ordinary life. And 1 in 7 of those people that you see is an entrepreneur. Most people are employees. Therefore, just the very fact that we want to earn more, that we want to be richer faster, that we want to be financially free to do what we want to do, when we want, with whom we want, for as long as we want, without having to worry about money, that means that we're kind of a little bit off kilter anyway, just a little bit crazy. Some people look at us like we're just a little bit different. And so we're not normal. Right now, we're not normal. We are against the grain. The whole flood of 6 people is going in one direction, and one of us is going the opposite direction, flowing against the tide. And so every day when we wake up, there is no normal for us. We want it the way we want it, and we want the freedom to do that. And so what's a little frustrating is, in this time of pandemic, we're told what we can and cannot do. We have to wear the mask. We have to be apart from each other 6 feet. We got to wash our hands multiple times a day. We are told exactly and for some of us, that just rubs us wrong. We just don't like to have people tell us what to do. So the question I want to ask you here is, how soon can you reach the stage where the money flows in without you having to go get it every day? How soon will that happen? If you're a fan of mine, you've read some of my books, and you probably have an entrepreneurial vein flowing through you right now. So when is the time going to come when the money flowing out is replaced by money flowing in without you having to go get it? And very few people live that way. Every day, most people have to go take their bucket and go fill it up. Like Kiyosaki talked about the little story of the village where there is a water source that's a little distance away from the village, and everybody every day has to go take their bucket and fill it up with water and bring it back for washing and cooking, etc. But it's something they do every day, and they've done that for centuries, maybe millennia. And somebody comes along and says, isn't there another way? Isn't there a way for us to bring the water to us? Why do we have to go get the water every day? Well, that's just the way we do it around here. And 6 out of 7 of the people would say, yep, that's just the way we do it. They won't even think of any other opportunity because they made their decision. That's just the way they are. 1 out of those 7 goes, how can we get the water to come to us? You know, so they figure, well, let's go dig a trench. And it's going to cost money. Every day they still have to go get their bucket of water. And then at night and in the morning early, they gather a few other entrepreneurial minded people and they start digging a trench towards the lake. And it's hard work. And there's no water from it. It's a foot or 2 deep, and then they have to buy the pipe, so it's expensive. They have to spend money without making any money coming in. And they still have to go get their bucket of water every day. So it takes months, maybe a year, or maybe 2, for there to be money going out towards this ultimate stream of income flowing in without any money flowing in, or any water flowing back into their lives. But eventually, the pipe is laid, the water source is connected, they've covered over the ditch, and they stand inside a little house with a faucet, and they turn the faucet on, and how little effort it takes to turn the faucet on. And the water pours out as much as they want, for as long as they want. Now everybody comes to their house, all the neighbors are going, whoa, that's cool. How did you do that? Well, you saw me digging for the last couple of years. You saw me still going every day to the lake to get my water. We need water. You need water. So we had to go get it. But on the side, working harder than anybody you can imagine, we now just turn the crank just a little bit. We have all the water. I want that. I want it. Well, then you have to pay for it, you know? So now all the village comes to the entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur sells them a little bit of water if they want it, you know? Or says, go dig your own trench. That's what I did. And so it's just kind of like the story of the little red hen, you know? She bakes the bread, and everybody's saying, well, you know, what a crazy thing you're doing there. But then when the bread is done and they can smell it, they want part of it. They want some of it. She said, then go bake your own bread. So we are the bed breakers, the bread bakers, and we are the trench diggers of our society. That's what we do every day. We get up. In addition to everybody else going to work, we got to go to work and we got to take our bucket. And our bucket we fill with money, enough money to live that day, maybe a little bit longer. And we go and fill up our bucket that day, and we come back home and we dump our bucket out on the floor of the living room, and they say to everybody, okay, here's the bucket I filled up today. We need to get some bread, we need to get some electricity, you know, we got to pay all our bills. And then when the bucket is empty, you got to go get another bucket full the next day. Well, what if it's a kind of a form of imprisonment, really, in a sense, because there's not enough money in that bucket for you to survive. So there has to come a time when you go, I have to work a lot harder than I'm working. And I'm not going to work harder at this job, because this job will never take me to financial freedom. Never. Do you ever know, have you known anybody who's ever been financially free from their job? I'm sure there are some, but very rare. They'll take their salary and they'll save it and invest it in you know, investment vehicles like the stock market, maybe some real estate on the side, but it's on the side. It's their side hustle. That's what we all do. We side hustle. We got to hustle. We have to more than anybody else, because we have to take the time to do the things that most people are not willing to do. They're just not willing to do it. Why? Because there's so many other distractions that they could take. There's just so many things to do in life. So part of the reason that I wrote the 4 Maps book was to constantly remind ourselves, as we draw these maps every day, constantly remind ourselves, this is my life. This is the only life I have. certain people have beliefs that we come back again in another lifetime to this earth. What we really don't know, all we really know is that this is it. This is our time on this planet. This is it. Now, I personally have a belief in another life, in an afterlife. That's my personal belief. And eventually, ultimately, during the millennium, we'll probably inhabit this place, this earth. But it'll be a very different place. And I don't want to go too deep into that right now. I just want to talk about looking out your window and saying, this is my life. And then looking around your house and looking at the way you've established the habit patterns of your life. And you go, this is my life. So what do you want your life to be? And some people don't have a desire to have a better life. They've settled. And it's okay to settle. I'm not saying you shouldn't settle. It's okay. Some people just can't settle. We just can't do it. Some of us don't have to work. We literally don't have to do any money generating activity at all. We are set. For me, it's taken me 70 years. But yeah, I'm done. I'm finished. After a few catastrophic losses where I lost everything a couple of times, everything and a whole lot more, and a lot of recapturing the dream, etc. But the question I asked for you was, what is your dream lifestyle? Where do you want to live? So the 4 Maps book contains these 4 maps that anybody who doesn't have a copy of it, just email me. It's just 4 maps. And you might have read it before, even drawn your maps before. But if you don't have what you want, then that's why you have to continue to draw the maps, because the maps create habits. Remember, habits are the bottom line of life. It's certain habit patterns that you need. You don't, as a friend of mine said, don't set goals, set habits. So this is a habit you set. And every day you ask yourself, where do I want to be from 5 years from now at least? And what do I want my life to be like? Getting from here to here, 5 years from now, then tell me what it looks like. Tell me what it dreams. Now, then the next map is similar. It's just that what are the challenges on the way to this dream? It's easy to dream. Everybody dreams. It's a right brain activity. It's easy to do. And everybody wishes. If you don't act today on your wishes and your dreams, then they are craziness. This map is called the anticipation map. It basically saying, for me to go from where I am, having not what I really want, I'm going to have to go through some challenges in order to get that. This is the way most people think about goals. They think, okay, I'll set a goal, I'll set a deadline, and I'll reach my goal. I'll just keep going. And it's a straight line. It's easy. It's an upward walk, kind of like a little stroll to your dream. And we all know that is not reality. This is reality. It's going to be hard. And it's going to be hard in at least 5 ways. And I've got to look at those 5 ways every day. And in the middle of all the chaos that's going on in life, I have to go dig another foot in my trench. No matter what's going on all around you. I got to go get my bucket of water. Got to go to the lake, get the water, because I got to live. But in the meantime, I have to dig my trench every day. And this is the difference between people who just dream and people who make their dream happen. Because every day there are at least 5 obstacles in the way that are basically saying to you, I dare you. I don't think you can do it. You're overwhelmed with all kinds of little details. Yeah, that's life. I dare you to dig another foot in your trench. I dare you. You got to learn how to new ways to make money you never thought of before. You've got to go through the anticipation of this learning curve that you have to go through. And at first, you're learning a brand new skill. You're going to look like a fool for a long time before you have the skill in order to dig, in order to make that money flow into your life. So I have to look like a fool in front of people who know me. And they have to watch me dig this trench. And I'm not good at digging trenches. I've never dug a trench before. What kind of tool do you use? I've got to go to the store and I've never laid pipe before. How do you do that? That's called the learning curve. And you've never dug a trench before? People are going to laugh at you. First of all, because just doing it, people are going to laugh at you. They're going to go, oh, come on, give me a break. It doesn't work. You can't do it. They're not doing it. Why? Because they have decided that going and walking with a bucket every day to the lake to get the water is smart, because that's what everybody else is doing. And if you do against the grain and do what nobody else is doing, they're going to laugh at you, because if you succeed, what does it say about them? If you succeed and have all the water you want with just a little twist of the faucet, and you show them that there was a much, much better way, they've got to call you crazy, because it is an indictment on themselves. So no wonder you're crazy. Even when you bring the water in your house and it flows in as much as you want, they're still going to call you crazy. They're going to call you immoral, unethical, racist. They call you all kinds of things, because you're doing it totally opposite of the flow of life. And that's just who we are. We're entrepreneurs. That's what we do. When somebody tells us we can't do it, we say, watch me. I'm going to do it no matter whether you tell me to or not. In fact, I was on the phone the other day with my team in RX, which is a network marketing company, and a guy was on the phone describing his 10-year journey, and now he's set for life. And he says, well, the first 6 years was hard. People were laughing at me, and somebody named Charlie, when I came and told him about this opportunity that I was building, Charlie laughed in my face. Now, how are you going to respond to that? Well, in this case, Charlie was an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur, when you tell an entrepreneur, especially in a real strong way, that they are out of their mind, they're crazy, something switches, something snaps in an entrepreneur. And they go, Charlie, because you said that, the way you said that to me, I must succeed now. So he put Charlie's name on his fridge, Charlie's name dangling from the rearview mirror of his car, Charlie's name in the mirror in his bathroom as he's shaving. Charlie's name is everywhere he looks, because he's basically saying, Charlie, thank you for motivating me so much to prove you wrong. When I sent out my applications to, after my MBA, I picked the 30 biggest corporations I could think of. And I sent out a letter to them to apply to work as a brand manager, some kind of marketing guy. And I got 30 rejection letters. And at first it was devastating. I can still see those letters laying on my bed in my little apartment in Provo, Utah. And I had just invested 6 years of career in university. And I had no prospects, because all the people I wanted to work for had all rejected me. And for a few days, it was really not fun. I felt like a total failure. Guys in my class were getting jobs. We were down to 2 out of my class that didn't have a job, and I was one of the 2. And the other guy worked as a garbage collector, and I have no idea where he is now. I kind of don't think he made it. But there was just him and me. And everybody else is getting these big offers, you know, and I'm getting 0. You know why I was getting 0? Because I'm not an employee. And when they do tests on me, they can tell Robert Allen will be a terrible employee. They could tell in the interview, that's just not who I am. I'm just not going to give my life to a corporation. I'm just not going to. My dad did. My dad worked for his entire life as an employee. It was the only model I had. But next door, my aunt and her husband were running the mercantile store with all the stuff that our little town was buying. The mercantile store was started by my grandfather, and he was a big deal in my little town of Raymond, 2,000 people, Raymond, Alberta. My dad didn't get the entrepreneur genes from my grandfather. He was raised in the Depression and therefore tried a few things, got beaten up by the economy, and finally said, okay, let me get a job. And he worked for the BC Sugar Beet Company, making sugar beets, making sugar for his entire life. And he got his check at 65 and his watch. And that's the only model I had. My grandfather was dead. My uncle-in-law, I guess that's what we call him, he was in charge of this little mercantile, and the genes, I could see other people making them up, but I never computed with me. I never computed with that. Like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to be the boss. I'm not going to work for a boss. I'm going to be the boss. I didn't even get it for my entire life. Went through a university thinking I was going to work for a boss until no boss wanted me. Nobody wanted me. And sometimes when something happens like that, it causes you to step back for a minute and say, wait a second, have I invested all of this time in a lie? That's not who I am? It took those 30 rejections to really hit me upside the head, for me to step back and say, is that what you really want? And I said, you know, that's really not what I want. I really want to invest in a lot of real estate and have that real estate be paid off and pay me lots of streams of income I want to be financially free. That's what I want. And I don't want to wait till I'm 65. No, I want to do it by the time I'm 35. Maybe by the time I'm 33. So that meant I had to start digging my trench when there was no way for me to get enough water to survive, because nobody was willing to pay me to take the bucket to the lake for them. Nobody was willing to hire me to carry a bucket for them, because they could see eventually I probably wouldn't carry the bucket much longer. And I never really liked it. They would chafe at me the whole time up the mountain and back. And it was just, they just could see by the tests they were taking of me that I was going to be a lousy employee. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that, where you kind of know that's who you are. You're going to be a lousy employee. So I had to start digging the trench, which means I had to find some real estate to buy and had to flip some real estate, make some cash, some to live on, and some to invest and continue to invest. And then I started selling real estate as a realtor for a couple of years so I could learn the game, but I hated it. I was so excited when I went into my broker, Pat Wyman and Lowell Christensen. Wonderful men, wonderful. But the last thing I wanted to do was to get a little bit of the commission. I wanted to own the real estate. I didn't want 6% of the real estate deal. I wanted the 94%, where I owned the real estate. And so I'd go and try to sell a piece of real estate to somebody, like a 12-unit apartment building on the center street of Provo, Utah. And it was a good deal. And I'd show it to people and say, you got to buy this deal, you got to buy this deal. And then nobody seemed to want it, nobody seemed to get it. And I go, this is a good deal. So I bought it and had to pay a commission to my broker for me to buy a property that I bought with little or nothing down. I had to pay a commission to my broker. And finally, I'll never forget the day when I walked in and I said, I will never collect another commission as a real estate commission salesperson ever again for the rest of my life. That was in December of 1976. And I have never collected a commission since, because that's just not me. That's not what I'm willing to do. And I had to go dig a trench. So I was digging the real estate trench. And so every trench you dig is a stream of income. So you have to dig your trench every day. So that's what this map is all about. Of all the challenges that are going on, and COVID is one of them at this particular point, this one is the fifth one, which is a sudden storm. You got the whirlwind of all the stuff that's going on every day. You got the learning curve. You got the marshmallows, all the things that could pull you off. You got the cliff of the fears that stop people, and you got the sudden storm. Those are the 5 biggies. Sudden storm. We didn't plan on this. We didn't know this was going to happen. My wife and I got back from Japan on the 8th of March. The COVID news was starting to go out there, and we said we're going to go to Japan, and we went to Japan and had the absolute magnificent time, staying on this magnificent resort. The Aman resorts are unbelievable, and we had our own jacuzzi, and we had beautiful living room, and it was just fantastic. It was not cheap, and we just had an absolute blast. And then we come back here on the 8th of March. Guess what happened? Yeah, like 3 days later, a week later, the world shuts down. Talk about sudden storm. My income that was very substantial from my speaking all around the world went to zero on that day when the world shut down. My income went to zero. My speaking engagements were all planned out in Italy and in China, and Japan, Australia, and Singapore, all planned. Zero. What do you do? Well, thank heaven I had streams of income that were pouring in from different places. I had multiple streams of income. I still haven't made a penny in the last 6 months, but we're buying a beautiful home and we're fixing it all up, and things are going nicely. Frankly, it's been a real good, nice respite. I was traveling a lot, too much. These challenges every day are to test you if you're willing to dig another foot in your trench. You can't dream about digging a foot in the trench. You can't imagine it. You can't hope that it'll happen. None of those things happen. You have to dig. And digging means you have to invest time and sometimes money and a lot of effort with zero return. No return on your investment. That's the hardest part. An entrepreneur, usually they want to see immediate return on their money. They put the money in the bank, they want an interest on it. If they make an investment here or there, they expect, well, most entrepreneurs don't see a return on their money for a year or two. They're not willing to have that kind of faith. To dig a trench day after day after day after day and have no water flowing back through the pipe that you just laid for a year or two. It's one of the reasons that entrepreneurs are so amazing, because they're willing to do stupid, foolish stuff with zero return for a long time, because freedom means that much to them. They're so inspired and motivated and driven, especially like this gentleman who said Charlie had told him that he had chosen the wrong industry and the wrong business, and he laughed at him. Well, he worked for 6 years and he made little bits of money, a little bit of water flowing down his pipe. But for the first 6 years of working without very little return, he earned in the 7th year more money than he had earned in the previous 6 years combined. And the 7th year and the 8th year were just off the charts. But it took him 6 years of digging, laying a foot of trench every day. And it wasn't just 30 minutes, 50 minutes, 15 minutes a day. It wasn't, it was sometimes 8 and 10 hours after work, after going to the pond and getting the bucket of water, after hours to do this. But now he's set for life. And he went and talked to Charlie. He said, Charlie, you remember when you laughed at me? Charlie didn't remember. He said, yeah, Charlie, you really laughed at me. And I'll never forget, it still stings, but I'll tell you why it stings. It stings because I did what I told you I was going to do. And now I'm set for life. How are you doing? Charlie's still going with his bucket every day. And now he's having trouble walking the path. His health is not as good. And Charlie still didn't buy the message. He still wasn't interested in building this extra stream of income. In fact, Chris, the guy who was talking to him, Chris said to him, Charlie, I didn't come here to try to enroll you in my business opportunity. No, you don't fit the kind of person I'm looking for. But I just wanted you to know that you were the one that motivated me to get here. Now, most people who start into an entrepreneurial venture quit after about the 3rd or 4th rejection. If you're an entrepreneur, you can't quit because that's just who you are. Somebody tells you you can't do it. Even if you fail and you try hard, sometimes they say that the average entrepreneur fails like 8 or 9 times before they finally crack the code. We're just a special, weird group of people, and thank heaven for entrepreneurs, because we create stuff. We create stuff. Most people that go to work, they don't create anything. They'll just do the support services for another entrepreneur. And but the entrepreneur creates things out of nothing. Just, most of you have an iPhone, don't you? If you don't have an iPhone, you'll have something that was copied from an iPhone that looks pretty much like an iPhone. But you remember when the first iPhone came out? 2007? You first saw it coming out of the box? And it looked so different than any phone you'd ever seen before. An entrepreneur created that. And you can read the story of Steve Jobs and his partner, Steve, of how they had to dig a lot of trench before they made any money from it. My message here today is basically that every day you got to dig, period. I'm digging with you right now. I had all kinds of other things. I was driving all around the city, buying paint for this one wall we need because we want to move into our house on Monday. So we got to get this wall painted. I got to get this toilet, and I got to, I'm running all over the place, not generating any income. But this call right now is my digging. I got in the shower specifically to talk to you today. Now, I'll stay here in my little rented office until my house gets done, house office. Tonight, I'll talk to China. And I'll answer some questions for China. And I'll talk to entrepreneurs in China. And they've asked me some questions. And I'll answer those questions. That's another foot or two in the pipe that I'm digging. Because I'm going to go back to China. And I'm going to speak to them next year. And so I got to keep them refreshed, keep them still thinking about their dreams. My conversation today is pretty basic. This third is, the third map is about ritual. It's about, do you have a ritual? Do you prepare yourself every day to dig that foot of trench you got to dig? Or do you let just life roll over you and don't read the books that'll expand your brain? Do the meditation and the prayer that you do to connect with the universe, to connect with yourself. Do those habits that most people don't do. They just don't do it. And they let life kind of overwhelm them. They let all the five little things get in the way, and they don't even prepare themselves to dig. And these four maps are the way you prepare yourself. You think it through. What do I really, really want? And I'm not going to settle for anything less. What's going to get in the way to try to stop me? Am I a hero or a zero? If you're a zero, that means you didn't do anything. That's zero. Because doing nothing, even thinking about it or studying it or meditating or praying or planning it, is all part of the ritual. If you didn't do anything, that's a zero. If you did something, it's because these five major challenges were thrown at you that day, today, and you dug. That's a hero. You don't have to be at the top of the mountain to say you're the hero. A hero is a person who digs 1 foot in the trench today. They don't have any results. They don't look like a hero. Nobody would say, look at that hero going over, look at that heroine looking over, no, nobody sees it. You're the only one that sees it. Till ultimately, you get to live the life you want to live for the rest of your life. And everybody will go, there she is. There he is. It's because you dug it a foot a day. You finally got there, right? And part of the digging is the planning and the preparing and the working on your mindset, building the habit. And then finally, just getting things done so your 5-year ideals are clear. And your brain, which is the most powerful computer on the face of the earth, your brain imagines it in all 5 senses. And now your brain goes, oh, this is how you want me to feel. Oh, this is what it looks like when we're living our dream. Oh, I get it. Your brain is the most powerful computer on the planet. And how do most of us use it? By telling ourselves we're not worthy. Heroes don't do that. A hero is a hero because not only the external obstacles, but the internal obstacle has been silenced. That critical voice has been turned down. I don't hear my voice, my critical voice. Do you? I shut mine down because I work on it every day. And then finally, I got my 5-year ideals, I got my 1-year dones, and I got my 1-day musts. That's where you dig your trench every day. At least one thing every day toward what you want. And people ask, they read the 4 maps and they go, well, that sounds like kind of like a to-do list, You just changed the names, you just made it different. No, this is not a to-do list. To-do list is the worst thing you can do for organizing your life. Because on a to-do list, nothing that's important ever shows up there. When you do your to-do list, you write down, make sure my wife feels like the most important person on the planet today. Does that end up on your to-do list? No, it's like, go get the paint for the house because my wife needed it. Oh, I got to drive 50 miles to get it? Great, you're the most important person in the world to me. So the to-do list, it ends up being a tool that most people use that doesn't include any of the important things. It most of the time never includes what their 5-year ideal is. It's usually, a to-do list is very intense, like stuff I got to do today. But most of the things on your to-do list are some things that if they didn't get done today, you probably wouldn't notice. It's just like your attitudes, your character, just who you are. It's built little steps at a time, and you don't see the result very often until one day you kind of wake up and you go, I'm not perfect, but I'm okay with who I am. I'm happy with the contribution I make to the planet. But sometimes you have to dig in that trench, the trench of character. You have to dig every day with almost no result for many years until finally you are who you were born to be. So these maps are just the way of reminding yourselves that I got to dig every day. And most people can't do it. They just can't. Gee, I wish they taught this in school, where you could say to the kids, one of these days you're going to be out of this classroom. You're going to be in the next grade. You're going to be in the next school. You're going to be on the next level. You're going to have a totally different profession, but these are things you do every day. These are little habits that you build. My conversation today is kind of free-flowing, things that I've just been thinking about on your behalf. Hope this has been helpful to you, been a useful conversation for us to have, for almost 100 of us here today. We need to be constantly reminded, just because we have a forgetting machine up here. Your brain is a forgetting machine. As I gain age, my machine doesn't work as well as it used to work. But nonetheless, no matter who you are, whatever age you are, it's easy to forget.
We love you, Bob.
The 4 maps is about remembering, saying, my dream is so important to me and to my family, to my friends, to my tribe, that every day I'm going to do these 4 little things. Now, you don't have to write them every single day. I don't now. I don't do them now because they're so part of who I am that I just do them, right? But that's the most important one. What do you do? What are your musts today? What are your dones for a year from now? And really, what do you want your life to look like? And most people don't do that because they're afraid. They're afraid that because they've tried it before and it didn't work. And so they're afraid to dream. And then the life gets pulled out, the rug gets pulled out from underneath them, like with the COVID-19. And they go, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it to dig every day. But what they're doing is they're carrying a bucket every day and they're not digging. And my challenge to you is just to remind yourself of why you're here. Why are you on this planet? Where did you come from? Where are you going? About 5% of the population believes there is no life before or after this, that this is it, that every breath you take is your last breath, and that they'll put you in the ground and you're done. And so you'd like to contribute as much as you can before it's over. I don't believe that. And most people in the world don't believe that. Whatever belief system that they teach, whether it's in Malaysia or in China, India, most everyone believes in a higher power. It just has different ways of describing him or her or it. But most all of the people on the planet have a belief in some kind of higher power. And there are a tiny minority who believe that the world started all by itself, and that the million species of animals and trees and plants that you see are just literally grew out of the explosion of nothing. And obviously you can tell I don't believe that. But that person who doesn't believe in a higher power, no matter who they talk to in the world, 95% of the people they talk to, they'd have to say, you are totally wrong about the thing that's most important to you, which is some form of a higher power and a life beyond this life. So where did you come from? Did you start when the sperm and the egg got together? Is that where you came from? Did you spark into life then? Or did that spark that came into that union of the sperm and the egg, that life that entered in there, did that life exist before it came here? This is kind of getting into some deep spiritual stuff. You can tell, I believe, that there was a previous life to this one, and we chose this life and knew we were going to come here. You may not believe that, so I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I want you to know, as your teacher, that's what I believe. When I see you, I don't see just a face on the screen here. You are my brother and my sister. No, literally, DNA, brother and sister, because your spirit existed before you came here, has divine DNA in it. And you and I were there together, knowing we were going to come here. That's why when I see you, I say, that's my brother, that's my sister. Lawrence, you're my brother. No, literally, not just a colloquial brother, but literally, DNA brother. So when I see Lawrence, he's from Oakland, and I love Lawrence, I go, that's my brother. No, and I'm not saying that because that's the languaging. Just say because, and then why are we here? What are you learning? You're learning how to love? You're learning how to create? Your DNA is creating DNA. You were born to create. Why? Because you are the DNA of higher power. You were born to create. What have you created? Got to create something. That's part of the digging every day. What are you going to create? Out of nothing. You're going to create stuff. Long after this world is over. And then where do you go? 5 years is a nice thought. That's 5 years, but I'm talking about 500 years from now. That's part of your ritual. It's part of your thinking. You're thinking beyond this life. So, not going too much more into that, I just want you to know that as my brother and as my sister, I love you. Why do I say that? I don't even know you, literally. I see some faces that I recognize, Samaya has been there for a while. John's my brother. John, you're not just my brother, but you're my brother. Laurel, some names. Kevin, my brother, Kevin. Yeah. And Lawrence, Gordon. Yeah. So anyway, without being too maudlin at this point, I just want you to know that you're in my thoughts every week. What do I want to say to my friends? And then you tell me what you'd like me to teach, if that would be helpful to you. You can always put that in the chat. You can always email me. I wish you well today, my brothers and sisters. I wish you well today, my friends and associates. My best to you. Good luck to you. God bless you. Take a great breath. Hey, Ephraim, you're my brother in 3 ways. Ephraim. Ali. Yeah, my friend Ali. I love Ali. He's in San Diego. Good guy. So any other thoughts, questions you want to put at me, you're welcome to do so. Just put them in the chat. In the meantime, till we get together next week, I've got some special guests I'm going to bring over the next couple of weeks. So I'll see you about doing that next week. Anything you want to say?
We love you, Bob. Great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Werner. Werner is the oldest Guinness Book of World Records, 7 tallest mountains in the world.
Arigato.
Arigato. Arigato. That's Japanese for thank you.
This message on entrepreneurs and life has been just fabulous, fabulous. It's Peggy.
Yeah. Oh, Peggy. Oh, hi, Peggy. Well, Peggy, you're amazing. Peggy.
I related so much to when you talked about how the rest of the regular world thinks that entrepreneurs are crazy, and that when they tested you, they figured out that you were that. I found that the hard way when I was trying to operate in a big giant church bureaucracy. You know, came up with great ideas and everything. Oh no, everything had to be done exactly the way it always was, right? And yet when they finally gave me permission to start a program, it was wildly successful. Women were coming to me and saying, I haven't had, my point was they were not making opportunities for people to become friends with each other. So I made opportunities. And I had people coming to me saying, this is what I wanted for 11 years. Even when I brought all that data to the church, they still didn't care. They still wanted everything to be done the same way. So anyway, that's when I realized I was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're a spiritual entrepreneur. Very good. All right, Meliciana, is that it? Where are you from, Meliciana? You can unmute yourself by just a little microphone on the bottom left. Where are you from?
Hi, Bob. Thank you
Hi.
so much.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Bahamas.
From the, oh, beautiful Bahamas. We love the Bahamas.
Yes, yes, I'm from the Bahamas.
Yeah. Haven't been there in a while.
Oh, you visited here?
Oh, yes, I've been there. Yep. In fact, we were there on you know, when you had your big New Year's party where everybody's coming down the street and laughing. And,
Junkanoo.
Yeah, that's it. What do they call it?
Junkanoo.
Junkanoo. Oh,
Yes,
yeah. We
yes,
were
Junkanoo.
there. We were junking with the news.
Oh, okay.
It was great. We had a blast. I'll never forget that. It was great.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Well, you can go back and go start digging, unless you've already dug. If you already dug, you know, then it's okay. You go get some water. Go get your bucket and go get some water. But if you haven't dug, then this is your opportunity. Since we're done, get digging.
Thanks a million again, Bob. Ken here from Dublin. Thank you.
From Dublin.
Dublin.
And
All the way over the other side of the pond. Thanks a million for everything.
Oh, very good. Where I'm looking for your picture here. Have you got your picture?
I'm up there somewhere.
You're up there somewhere
Up there
in
beside you.
Dublin.
Is he Ken?
Well,
Ken.
there he is in the big beard from Dublin.
There you go.
Good.
We grow
You know,
beards over here to
Dublin,
keep it cold.
In Dublin, my memory of Dublin actually was we rented a car. I was took a semester abroad in France, and then we rented a car and we went all over Europe, and we went to England and then went to Dublin. And Dublin, I was driving the car and took my eye off the road and had a car accident in Dublin. And it was not a fun experience. Beautiful country though. And I kissed the Blarney Stone, all that stuff that tourists do. Yep, did it all. Very good. And had an accident in Dublin. So,
There you go.
good to see you, man. All right.
Take care.
Well, Vanessa, how you doing? I love your piano back there, Vanessa. Oh, nice.
Doing great, Bob. Thank you for all the wonderful inspiration.
Oh, very good.
Good job.
Hey, what are you doing, Michael? What
You
are
have
you
a gift.
laying
You have the
laying in
gift.
the bed there? What are you doing?
I'm digging my trench. Everybody on the call spent an hour digging with you.
Oh, you gigged with me. Now, Michael and I climbed Mount Fuji 3 years ago. It was this month, 3 years ago, wasn't it, Michael?
Yes.
3 years ago. And it was quite an experience. I was 69. Well, not like Werner. Werner's 82, I think, or 83 now. but I was 69. That's probably the last mountain I'm going to do. I asked Werner about the Matterhorn. And I said, I want to climb the iconic mountains like Fuji and now the Matterhorn. So Werner sent me the descriptions of climbing the Matterhorn. If you want to have a mountain you don't want to climb, just Google climbing the Matterhorn. And you'll see this little trail along the side of the mountain with cliffs going down thousands of feet on either side. And you have to climb that little tiny trail all the way to the top of the Matterhorn. Next life, if there is another life, I'll do it in not this life, no Matterhorn, but my last mountain I climbed was with Michael there. And so it's good to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
Patrick, what's up? What's up?
I'm doing fine, Bob. Thanks for your good work.
Very good. Where are you calling from?
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, pretty hot there right now, I bet.
Very, very. 102.
Yeah, a 102. Oh, wow.
Sir.
Well, welcome, Pat. How did you find out about this?
Well, I've been hanging around your lessons for a long time now.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
I didn't know. It's so good to see you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hey, Bob. It's Victoria.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hi, Victoria.
Hey, love this. Thank you so much. And I had a very important question.
Yeah.
Is your book, The Four Maps, is that a hardcover as well that I can pick up at Barnes & Noble?
No, you can't.
Okay.
You can order it on Amazon and they will send you a paperback that looks like this. It's like 14 bucks or something like that. You know
Okay.
what Amazon has done, how they changed the rules about publishing? I sent them the manuscript and as an ebook, you can, I think it's $12 or $13 as an ebook, unless you send me an email and ask me to give it to you, which I will. But they print these one at a time.
Oh,
When you order it and want the paperback version, it goes to the printer and they print it and they send it to you one at a time. Talk about Amazon has changed the entire world, really. And so now what you and I are involved in, Victoria, is the Idea to Income program, where I've been teaching you how how I give this book away through Facebook advertising to generate a database.
mhm.
And the database is building now, and we'll have 20,000, 30,000 people who will have received this book and pay a little bit for shipping and handling. And
Right.
that database, now I can go to a major publisher and I can say to that publisher at a platform, I want you to publish the Four Maps, because I think Four Maps is the best book I've ever written. It's
Okay.
totally different than the multiple streams of income. But I think it's a book that everybody should be doing. So
Well, you know what?
you and I are working on. I shared that with you last night.
Yeah, and I printed it out and I love it, but I find that I'm still very traditional in my text reading. Like I love to have
Yep,
my
me too.
I love to highlight and write, and I'm having a hard time doing that with my printout, and I go, forget it. I'm just gonna see if we can buy it, and I'll.
This,
That's so funny. I think a lot of our people that are interested, I'm seeing that the ebook is great, but also having the option for a published book might be good for people that still want that.
absolutely.
Thank you.
You know, it's one of the few things in history where that hasn't changed. When you really think about it, when they created a book. Now, when did they start? They started printing book in 1600. For the last 400 years, think about what has changed about a book. It hasn't changed. It's been digitized, but most of us who have a few years under our belt, we still want to hold that book in our hands and we want to underline it. And we want to smell that paper and we want to put it up on our shelves and, you know, we want to see it there, you know.
Yeah.
I want to see my own books right there. And,
I want to know where it's at. I want to bookmark it. I want to.
exactly.
And most of
Hold the
that's-
corners. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for
People
letting me know.
People say they like on their Kindle, they have like 500 books on their Kindle and they think, isn't that amazing? And all those books are on that Kindle. And I go, yeah, but I probably would not read one of them.
Yeah.
I'm like that at the moment. I've got what's it, almost 1,000 books on my Apple book thing, because I love to buy them and just kind of have them, but then I find that I always duplicate then and buy them as a physical copy, and then I read my physical copies.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes, like when you're on a train or if you're somewhere where you don't want to carry lots of books, then it comes in handy, and then I find myself drawn to them. But then even now I've come over to my mum's and I've got about 3 physical books with me just because I prefer it.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Physical
want to see,
books.
I want to see the titles on my shelf, because every time I walk by them, they're a huge encouragement. I mean, like when I see my 4 maps, instantly all the great ideas in it are popping back through my head. It's like this crowd of cheering people to have all these favorite books and all the great ideas that have changed my life. I want to see them.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I believe that the books have kind of energy about them as well. Sometimes I feel like like sometimes if you just look and glance and then you notice a title and then you go and pick it up, whereas obviously with your ebooks, they're not in your vision at all, because they're just kind of hidden away. So you have to deliberately go, rather than the book, almost be able to call to you.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that? Have you ever walked through a bookstore and a book just spoke to you and said,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I've got a bookcase with so many books.
I have an experience.
Do you want to know what the research says about hardcover books or print books?
No.
That people, when you're reading a book, your mind analog marks where it is on the page, where the information is on the page, and where it is in the book, so that you know, oh, this was at the beginning of the book, or this was at the middle.
Uh-huh.
And it helps you remember better. And they found that when children use digital books, their eyes scan top to bottom and they skim it. When you read right to left, then your mind picks up the words and marks it. So that's why
when you read left to right like they do in Japan.
Then, well, it's making your eyes track, either left to right or right to left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote so many brilliant books, wrote in his 1908 book, he says, "Through the magic door, I care not how humbly your bookshelf may be, nor how many lonely the room which it adorns. Close the door of that room behind you, shut off with it all the cares of the outer world, plunge back into the soothing company of the great dead, and you are through the magic portal into that fair land, whither worry and vexation can follow you no more. You have left all that is vulgar and all that is sordid behind you. There stand your noble, silent comrades, all the characters in your books, waiting in their ranks. Pass your eye down their files, choose your man or woman, and then you have but to hold up your hand to him or her, and away you go together into dreamland." That's what a book does.
Yep.
A book. So that's why I love books, and I'm be teaching another program called How to Write a Best-Selling Book. That'll be launched here in the next 90 days. I'll tell you more about it. All right, everyone, go dig. And in the chat, tell me what your biggest aha from today was. What was the biggest takeaway from today? Type that in the chat as you leave a gift for me, so I can know how I might have improved your day a little bit. Type, hi from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Hi there. Type in there, just leave me a little, what's an aha you had from today's conversation? I'll read every word. Ken from Dublin. Cousin Kathy. Laurel. Yeah. Gail.
Bob,
Yes.
It's Gail. I just want to let you know that I know that we're all brothers and sisters because I'm the same religion as you,
Mm. Mm. Welcome.
and I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Life is good. Every breath,
Goodness.
every
We
breath.
have breath.
Yeah,
We have breath. We're so grateful.
yeah, every breath.
Yogis, when I was studying before I did all my doctor stuff, I
Yeah.
was taking yoga, and we had one instructor who said, and the classes were so hard. She said, when all that you request is water and breath, you shall have everything you desire.
Oh, nice. Send me that text, will you, Angelica? Send that to me.
Of course.
Like, great.
We have, in COVID, we have breath and we have water. We
Yeah.
can create from zero, from nothing, from the divine.
Yeah.
Much love.
All right, everyone. My best to you. Go dig. If you've already dug, then go get some water. I love you. See y'all. And make sure you type in a little aha there for me. Yeah, I want your ahas. Yeah, good.
Love you
Yeah.
too, Bob.
Bye, Bob.
Yeah, there we go. I'm going to save the chat. I get to save it. I get to savor it later. So I know what I can do to make it better for you next time. Bye-bye. I love you.
I love you, Bob. Bye-bye.